Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to show you various improvised impact devices that I've accumulated this year. Right now, all of these have an alternative use, but they can be used as improvised self-defense items. So this is sold as a hammer, actually. This is sold as a fish bat. These two are sold as acupressure or pressure point massage stimulation devices. That is a grip weight, just used as exercise device. And that is also a fish killing or to euthanize fish, right? Like a mini fish bat. So all of these have plausible explanations aside from weapon. And that is important because in some areas, if something is designed as only a bludgeon or blunt impact weapon, some places actually restrict those, even though those same places do not restrict tire thumpers, fish bats, baseball bats, walking sticks, and so forth. I got this on Temu. They have it for like $10 sometimes. This is removable, but if you do not remove it, when held like this is what they call a fist load, meaning it stiffens your punch, your fist. It supports your fist. Now, when I was a kid, we used a roll of quarters, and we would beat the hell out of each other on the street. Now, this would hurt a lot against a skull, right? If you punch this hard part, focusing all the force of your punch, you could also bring this down on a skull, right, or some other target. You know, you can use this as an impact device, right? Now, if you're worried about this, like let's say you hit something like this and it pushes on your finger, if you're worried about it hurting your finger, this part unscrews. So you don't even need this part if you don't want to mess with that part. Okay? It can be a pure impact stick. Right? And enough of it sticks out, right, that could fracture a skull, depending on how much force you want to use or can use. Right? So this has multiple uses. Now this is actually sold as a massager. It's sold as basically something to line that up. It's sold as an acupressure or massage device. In other words, you can stimulate various pressure points with this. So it's actually sold as a massager. This is not sold as a weapon. Well, this is also sold as a pressure point activator or some type of massage device. It could definitely be used as an improvised defensive option. So this is carbon fiber. And you see the cutouts here. So this is very light, but yet very strong. It's a lot easier to carry than that last, solid metal one. And enough of it sticks out, more than enough sticks out, to focus all of the force of your strike on that tip. All right? Or I guess if you want to be a little nicer, you could do that, but yeah, so this again is sold as a pressure point activator, right? There's one right there. And the advantage of this is its carryability, right? Yeah, super light, but yet would be effective, a force multiplier. So that's this. This was on Temu. I believe it was around $20, but prices are subject to change. I don't even know if it's up there anymore. Next up, we have what's called usually called a hand weight or a grip weight, also sometimes called a boxing weight. All right, they used to sell these at Modell's where I lived, but Modell's was always a shit store and it went out of business. So this was on Temu, 1 kg. Now, I would recommend a lighter one. They tend to sell, right, this weight. But they do have one that's 1 pound in weight, which is less than that, right? And the 1 pounder, which I already have from years ago from Modell's, the 1 pounder is a lot faster if you were to use it as an improvised defensive device. But you can use this. It's a bit heavy, but that could be a good thing. And I think you understand. Like, where I live, you're not, like, they have restrictions on brass knuckles, but they do not have restrictions on hand weights, which is kind of shows why those laws are silly, because there's so many things that are that same shape. Like, even just heavy-duty carabiners from the hardware store are that same shape. It's not really practical to ban carabiners. What they should do is just ban assaulting people. Oh, wait, they already did, right? It's already illegal to just go, punching people for no fucking reason with a weight, but they want to ban the item because it's just mental confusion and hysteria. But yeah, this is perfectly legal where I live, and I think it's legal everywhere. The heavier something is, the less you would use it with conventional punches, right? With something like this, you're going to be doing shorter punches. And ideally, you would just grab their head with your other hand. You'd have to set this up right. You could also do hammer fist with this, like a swinging hammer fist would take someone's head off. But again, you'd have to set that up right. They can be used, especially if you have any sort of punching, striking training. This will just enhance it. All right, this thing, it was on Amazon. So basically, this thing is used on fish, theoretically. However, because of, it's kind of just the right size to stick out of your hand. It's just the right size to stick out, and also you can get a really good grip on it. And this thing is somewhat heavy and solid. All of the weight is in the head of this thing. Right? All the weight. This actually screws off. Right? So this thing is just solid. Next up we have, well, this is a fish bat. Again, it's a thing to euthanize fish. You smash their little fish brains. Right? But it has obvious other uses as well. I would remove this and replace it with either nothing or like a combat lanyard. It's fairly short, and that's its weakness and its strength, right? It doesn't have a lot of reach, but it has some reach. And because it's not that heavy, you can whip it out, right? You can whip this out with the speed of a back fist, right? Bam, there's his teeth, right? You can also just jab with it, and it does give you some reach, right? So if he's stupid enough to have his chin up, bam, there's his windpipe, there's his teeth. And then you can also do like bigger swings with it. Like once you set up a finisher, you can do bigger swings with it that do more damage, but you got to set that up first in some way. You have to take the initiative, put him on his heels on the defensive. One benefit of these things is that, look, when you strike someone, they usually put their hands up in some fashion. Well, with something like this, smashing their forearms and their fingers and shit, their hands are going to only be up for so long before there's a bunch of fractures and stuff. And then once their hands are done, well, I guess they would probably run away at that point. But if not, like, their face and skull are open. All right, and this thing is hilarious. I love this thing. It was, I think it was around $25, something like that. This was also on Temu. What is it? Well, officially this is actually a hammer. And as you see, it has a flat part. So you can literally hammer nails with it. So it's basically just a fancy looking kind of gag hammer. All right? It's not sold as a weapon, it's just sold as a hammering tool. All right? But as a, as a collector of weapons and a student of history, it looks like a small mace. Now, how firmly is this on? That's hard to tell, man. You might want to test that out. But it feels pretty firm. Might have to smash this against something just to see. But you can tell what it is. It's a hammer that could be a small mace. It's more of a collectible item. I don't anticipate you're just going to walk down the street with this, right? That'd be weird. That'd be a little attention getting. I don't know. Maybe people would keep it in their truck or something and just pull it out for fun. But I wouldn't want to get hit by it. Extremely top heavy. Since it was fairly inexpensive and cool looking. I got it. And last we have this. This is actually a cane. Right? It's a cane. Or just a walking stick. That's the end for grip. Right? Comes in different woods. And it's literally called a bubba stick. Sorry, it's upside down. A bubba stick. Right? So this is just a cane for an old man's cane with a very sturdy ergonomic grip. But in an emergency, this could strike because it's solid metal and it's weighty. This could do a lot of damage in an emergency, correct? Right? So, yeah, the bubba stick has defended many an older gentleman. So if you need a cane that can kind of strike like a mace, the bubba stick is about $55 on US Amazon. Right? So if you need to walk with a cane and perhaps you have an injury or you're just elderly, if you're afraid of ruffians, hooligans, or even just vicious dogs, the bubba stick can certainly has some defensive application. Now, I've always been a big advocate of impact devices having a place in a self-defense spectrum of force, right? And the reason for that is because you can't just always shoot someone. It's just not justified in certain situations. Whereas blunt weapons allow you to escalate with gradations, and I've got Eskrima sticks there. And I've reviewed these in the past. These are tire thumpers, cold steel baseball bats, right? So these all have an alternative use, right? Fish bats, tire thumpers, and sporting equipment. I have a Joe stick there from when I was a child. I trained with that. Right, so those are some previous impact devices that I've featured.